You felt it, haven't you, Seeker? A thread of an idea, a story that refuses to die. It whispers in the quiet moments, a pattern you almost recognize. You're here because you follow such threads. Good. That's the only way to find the real stories, the ones with power. Have you ever wondered how a creature with no kingdom could outsmart kings? How the smallest voice can rewrite the rules of the powerful? How a being can shift its shape, not just in body but in meaning, becoming a man, a god, a spirit, a lesson, all in the space of a single breath, and how that same small creature could carry the soul of a people on 8 delicate legs across oceans of time and tragedy. Then you are ready to meet Anansi, the original weaver, the keeper of stories, West Africa's legendary trickster. But to call him just a trickster is to see only one thread in a grand cosmic web. I am here to show you the rest. Our story begins here, in the ancient heart of the Akan people, in the rainforests and savannas of what we now call Ghana and the Ivory Coast. The air itself was thick with stories. They weren't written in books, they were lived, they were breathed. The Akan people told tales of Kwaku Anansi, the spider. He was their paradox. He was clever, yes. His mind, a labyrinth of wit that could trap the proudest lion or the mightiest sky god, Nyame. He was funny, his antics a source of laughter that could break the deepest gloom. And he was chaotic, a whirlwind of impulse and desire, often tripping over his own cleverness. He was a hero who could teach you how to survive, and a fool who could teach you how not to live. He barters with sky gods, not for gold, but for the very concept of stories. He bargains for wisdom, then struggles to carry it. And most importantly, Seeker, he flips the rules when the rules aren't fair. Remember that. It's a key. You must understand, these tales weren't simple bedtime fluff. They were memory palaces, oral libraries holding the code of a civilization. Every story was a proverb about society, a lesson in ethics and justice, a blueprint for survival skills. Anansi was the vessel for it all, the flawed, funny, brilliant, and utterly necessary keeper of the keys. But then, history twisted the web, the great wound, the Marfa. During the transatlantic slave trade, millions of Akan people were stolen from their homes, chained, and forced across that brutal ocean. They were stripped of their names, their families, their possessions. But there was one thing that could not be chained. They carried Anansi in their heads and their hearts. He was no longer just a character in a story. He became a technology of survival, a spirit of resistance. On the plantations in the Caribbean, under the lash and the burning sun, Anansi was there. In the rice fields of the American South, where new languages and cultures were being forged in fire, Anansi was there too. His form shifted, his name changed, but his essence, his purpose, grew stronger. In Jamaica, he became Anansi. His stories told in the rich cadence of patois, a symbol of outsmarting the powerful Bakra, the slave master. In the Gullah Geechee communities of South Carolina and Georgia, he softened, becoming Aunt Nancy, a figure of wisdom and cunning, her tales whispered in praise houses, woven into the very fabric of their unique Creole language and culture. If you reached this far, Seeker, pause, breathe, now here's the twist. Anansi became a master of code. The stories changed accents, yes. They picked up new villains, tiger, dog, the plantation owner. But beneath the surface, they became coded messages of resistance. Just as spirituals like wade in the water were literal instructions for escape, Anansi stories became manuals for psychological warfare. They taught how to win with wit when brute force was suicide, how to play the fool to catch the wise, how to use your enemy's greed and arrogance against them. Anansi was the hope that the powerless could, in fact, triumph. So I ask you, Seeker, why a trickster? Why is this archetype so universal, so enduring? Because tricksters are born in the cracks. They thrive in tight spaces. When you cannot lift a boulder with muscle, you must find the right lever. That lever is the mind. Anansi teaches that rules are negotiable, that hierarchies are breakable, and that laughter is a weapon of the soul, a shield against despair. But do not mistake him for a saint. That is a dangerous oversimplification. He is often selfish, lazy, and vain. His schemes can backfire spectacularly, harming his own family and community. He is a mirror. He forces the question upon you, Seeker. What would you do with the little power you have? Would you hoard it, or would you use it to weave a stronger web for everyone? Think of the most famous tale, Anansi and the Pot of Wisdom. He cleverly gathers all the wisdom in the world into a single pot, intending to keep it for himself. But to climb the tree of life and hide it, he straps the pot to his front. He can't get a grip. His own son calls out, "Father, why not put it on your back?" In his frustration, Anansi lets go. The pot shatters and the wisdom spills out for all of humanity to share. The lesson is profound. Knowledge is useless when hoarded. Its true power is only unlocked when it is shared. And share it they did. Across islands and coasts, these stories became cultural passports, connecting the diaspora. In Jamaica today, Anansi is a national icon. The Anansi Festival, held across the diaspora, celebrates him with vibrant storytelling, keeping his sly grin alive in folk music and performance. In Suriname, preservation efforts and diaspora archives work tirelessly to document every Anansi story, ensuring the threads of this oral tradition are never lost. And in the United States, Aunt Nancy whispers through award-winning children's books, used in classrooms not just as folk tales, but as exercises in critical thinking and problem-solving. Same spider, new webs. Proof that a story, a true story, doesn't just survive. It adapts, it evolves, it lives. So, what is the significance for you today, Seeker? Anansi is a toolkit for the modern world. For the young, he is a playful masterclass in seeing problems from unconventional angles. For communities, he is a vital link to heritage, a way to keep language, proverbs, and the unique rhythm of call and response alive and breathing. And for everyone, for you, he is a timeless reminder. Your creativity is not a hobby. It is a fundamental survival skill. Your ability to reframe a problem is your greatest power. So, here is the loop I leave with you. The next time you face a problem too big to muscle through, a wall too high to climb, ask yourself, what would Anansi do? Would he bargain? Would he reframe the entire game? Would he laugh in its face? Find one thread, the smallest point of leverage, and pull. That is how webs and futures are made. This channel is my pot of wisdom, and I refuse to hoard it. I am here to help you unlock the creativity, strategy, and cultural wisdom you need for your own challenges. If this story sparked a thread in you, subscribe and activate the bell. Don't let the wisdom scatter. I drop new stories every week, new keys to unlock old doors. You, the one who stayed to the end. You are the one I tell these stories for. Watch more of my videos. I drop new stories every week. Start with the next one. The web is waiting.